Hey everyone, hope you all had an amazing week as usual. Now, I had so much fun on the Comp Hex last week, I've decided to come out on it again, and I've come to explore this Trials Park, which is 25 minutes away from my house in Bells Hill, just south of Glasgow, and yeah, it looks actually pretty decent. Now, the thing with the UK is there's lots of health and safety, red tape you got to go through, so unfortunately, you can't build anything over, I think it's like 1 meter or 1.5 meters, so everything here is pretty low, but there's plenty of tech gaps, and if you're learning trials, you'll definitely appreciate somewhere like this, and I'm sure there's some bigger stuff here if I look hard enough as well. There'll be stuff to challenge me, I'm sure, but the rain is just starting. I'm not sure how long I'll get to ride here, so let's just get on with it. Right, I do have some experience on this bike yet, but I wouldn't say I'm exactly used to it, so we're going to do some baby steps. So let's see what we can find. Even though everything is kind of low level, there's definitely some big gaps here. You know, I think there's stuff here that could challenge some of the top riders in the world. So even though stuff's not tall, doesn't mean it's not hard. So one thing this long stem and tilted forward bars allows me to do is much bigger gaps to front and just general stuff to front wheel. So I've picked myself out a gap from this block to that block, and I've no idea how big it is, but let's see if I can do it. I think jeans was a bad idea today. It is humid. That feels weird. That rock is kind of in the way. Well, I say kind of, it's very much in the way. But I just try to avoid it. One thing I find when I try to put down power with this long stem is the bike kind of wants to feel like it folds in the middle. I don't know whether I'm just pulling with one arm stronger than the other, but it feels like I just want to go like that. Which is, yeah, definitely my fault, not the bike's, but it feels weird. Almost. And how weird is it having a quiet bike doing this? So used to people doing this kind of stuff with super loud brakes. Generally, if you land on the top flat bit, there's actually a lot harder for the brake to lock than it is if you land on the corner. If you land on the corner, the act of the corner is actually stopping the bike dead as well as the brake. So ideally, you want to land kind of on top of the corner, get the grip of the tyre so your tyre doesn't slide, get the grip from the brake so your brake doesn't slip, and then still allow you to get onto the top. So landing directly on the flat top, it's not the best technique. There we go. There we go. That's exactly how I wanted it. I'll tell you what, for as small and as comedy as that seat is, you can actually still sit on it. It's not that bad. One thing with riding the Quarry last week is there's not really any kind of flat takeoffs, so I couldn't really power through any like nice up to front, or I couldn't really practice anything comfortably. Everything was kind of pretty hardcore. Whereas here we've got a nice flat run up takeoff point and fairly obvious rocks with like nothing to fall onto and mangle yourself. Because that's one thing the Quarry, there's nowhere to fall. It is a real ankle breaker of a place. But here I can actually try some techniques like side ops, up to fronts, stuff like that relatively safely, so that's quite nice. We've got this rock here just over bar height. This would be quite a nice rock to try some, I don't know, side ops to rear, up to fronts on. Side ops on my street style hex are such a nightmare because it's so much shorter of the stem, hard tire pressures, it does not have much bounce, whereas this one I'm hoping I can send this up to back wheel fairly easily. Well, that side up absolutely flew up. I'm actually really happy with that. The longer reach and the bouncy tyres helps so much. Now I want to try an up to front on this. Now a pedal up to front, so scary, but maybe a back hop up to front. We'll see what this long stem, steep head angle, tilted bars say about that. It's absolutely nuts what the top guys can just go straight up to front on. Literally like eye height, whereas this is, I don't know, almost half the height the top guys can do, but baby steps. This is not a technique I do very often, not from a pedal anyway. Oh. Because it's got a slight overhang coming towards me, I'm a little bit scared my front wheel will go underneath it and just go like that. So it might take me a few attempts to actually get my weight on top with my weight far forward enough, because this is quite a scary thing. You just feel like your face is going to hit right on the corner. Again, this stem is insane. I was nowhere near getting up then, but because it's so long, I just put my weight forward and it almost went up from being an absolute no-go to almost getting it. It is nuts. It is nuts. Whoa. Too much, ended up in a nose manual. Okay, so I'm kind of struggling to keep myself going straight. I'm kind of going off balance a little bit. I don't know whether that's, again, I'm pulling harder of one side more than the other, but it's happening and I need to fix that. There we go. Yeah, no way I could do that on the street bike. Yeah, happy with that. Now there is a limiting factor here. My short wheelbase does mean I just won't be able to go as high because the bike is physically shorter. When you're on the back wheel, the bike's physically lower down, so you just can't bridge that height gap as much. But no, I couldn't do that on my street bike, not from that technique, so pleased with that. So that's the kind of back hop up to front technique. The other technique I haven't done is just a straight pedal up to front wheel. I find those ones way scarier. Might try that on something a little bit lower first. With these pedal up to front techniques, I have almost a habit of, as I'm going up, my bike goes like that rather than just like that. It's subtle, but it's a big difference. There's a difference between getting up with your weight directly on top of the object with getting your weight just in front of the object and missing and hitting your face. So yeah, I find these ones quite intimidating. But the comp riders, this is like their bread and butter technique. This is probably the technique you'll see most of the top guys use just to get up absolutely massive stuff. They've got it absolutely dialed, they've got the technique sorted, and I can see how it works. It's just, for one, years and years of bunny hopping to front wheel, doing it from a pedal is a little bit weird. Oh, that's a horrible technique, I hate it. Almost. There we go. There we go. I tell you what, when you do get that technique right, I can totally see how people just absolutely fly up stuff. It's a scary one, but it works.
Are you a biker?
I am a biker, yeah. Hence the bike.
Is that the one with no seat on it?
Kind of. Have you seen it? That's my seat there. Right, I'm going to try and jump up this rock.
I would probably fall while I was doing this. I would probably fall while I was doing this.
I really wanted to get that rock to front wheel swap to back and then gap to that little sleeper over there. But one thing I'm finding is, firstly, the back brake isn't quite holding, which is kind of annoying. Definitely need to try some better pads or go back to an A4 caliper. But also, this longer stem means that when I'm swapping to front wheel, rather than kind of being compact and not having to move far, I might have to move my body so far just to swap the wheels because of how much extra reach there is with the stem. And that extra body English I have to do is really, really weird, and I'm definitely not used to it. So I really, really struggled with that. But I did get that one nicely kind of over to bonk down the other side, so I'll take that. And now I want to see if I can just do this straight to back wheel and over. So yeah, going to back wheel, for me, definitely easier than going to front wheel. That was way quicker. Right, well, here comes the rain. I knew it was going to come. This camera is not waterproof, so let's put this away and see how long this rain lasts. Let's stay here for a bit. Right, well, the rain has kind of stopped. There's still a couple of little spits, but this place, certainly the ground will dry pretty quickly. Made some of these items a little bit slippery, but yeah, let's get back to it. Let's test this short wheelbase. No problem. To do that to front wheel or to back wheel? Let's try back wheel first and then front wheel. All the hopping. Yo, that's scary. Not quite. There we go. There we go. Happy with that? Well, that's me hiding in this echoey concrete tube because the rain is coming down fairly heavily now. It was forecast, but it's still so hot today. I had hoped the rain was going to hold off for a little bit longer because there's plenty of stuff I still wanted to ride, especially that metal girder. Where is it? There, up there, but metal in the wet. not the nicest thing to ride. But yeah, that was really fun. Otherwise, this place is actually really, really cool. Like I said, there's nothing really high here, but there's plenty of gaps to challenge you. And if you want a little trialsy area just south of Glasgow, it's worth a little visit, I reckon. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed a bit more trials content. Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you next week where it's going to be a little bit different. I'll leave you with that. So take care, everyone. Bye bye.